Guys, in this video we are going to be going over the fundamentals of marksmanship. To demonstrate the techniques in today's video, we're going to be using my Glock 19X. We are going to be covering the proper grip on your gun. We're going to be covering the proper sight picture as well as some trigger control. So be sure to stick around throughout the duration of this video. This video is one in a series that I'm doing on the fundamentals of concealed carry. This is attached to a playlist. Go down, check out that entire playlist. Before we get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to my channel. Be sure to check out the links down below. If you want to help support the work that we do here and get early access to these videos, go over to my main channel and become a channel member. Any kind of training that you do, you need to remember the 4 fundamental safety principles of firearm. Number 1 is treat all guns as if they are loaded. Number 2 is to keep your finger off of that trigger until you are ready to fire. Make sure that you keep the gun pointed in a safe direction. We are out here at my range. This is where I conduct classes. Also, be sure of your target and what is behind it. Just because you hit your target does not necessarily mean that target is going to stop that round. So you need to know what is beyond that target. The first thing that we're going to be talking about in this video is having a proper grip on your firearm. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that that gun is basically just an extension of the bone in your arm. Okay, you want to make sure that your hand is up underneath that trigger guard when you grip it. The webbing in your thumb, you want to make sure that it is in the middle of the back strap of that gun, and wrap your fingers all the way around. You're going to see here I do have a little bit of an opening, and that's where I can take my support hand. I can lay that in there, and again, you can see that I'm going to have those fingers underneath that trigger guard where they need to be. Gripping that gun firmly, and I want to make sure that I have plenty of pressure on that grip. Okay, you need to make sure that you keep that pressure good on that gun. Okay, grip it tightly. Okay, we're not going to get into the fundamentals as far as how much pressure you should have one hand or the other. The reality is you need to make sure that that gun is stable in your hand. If it's jumping around in your hand, you're not gripping it tight enough. Make sure that your trigger finger is off of the trigger. You can see there, you want that high index on that grip. Make sure that it's away from it. You do not want to run the risk of having it down here lower to where if something were to hit your finger and it goes down and hits that trigger, causes a negligent discharge. Now we're going to talk about sight picture. I want you to notice what you are seeing in the viewfinder. I'm actually using the viewfinder to aim through my firearm to better demonstrate it to you guys. Let's go ahead and get it readjusted just a bit. What you want when you are focusing through your sights, you can notice the front sight post up there. You also notice the rear sight back here. Let's just get that into focus. What you want to do is you want to have an equal light, equal height. And what that means is the front of that sight post on the front of that gun, you want it to be even with the rear sights, okay, with that notch. Okay, you want that front post to fill in there on that rear notch. Okay, that's what you want. Okay, let me just see if I can get you guys a little bit better view. Again, this is what I want. I want to make sure that I have equal height, equal light. Okay, I want to fill in where that sight is. Okay, that's what you're wanting to do when you are taking aim with your firearm. Before we get too far along, I want to take a minute to talk about trigger control. What you want to do when you are firing a shot is you want to make sure that as you are pressing that trigger that you do not disturb that sight picture. Okay, you can overcome some misgivings with trigger control by having a good, strong grip. However, you need to practice having proper trigger control. Okay, you do not want to handicap yourself to make your shot less accurate. You want to do everything you can, having that fundamentals principles, those fundamental elements down the way that they need to be. Every firearm out there, whether it is a striker fired, hammer fired, you're typically going to have just a little bit of take up on that trigger. Okay, just to show you guys, press that trigger, there's a little bit of take up till I hit that wall. And when I hit that wall, when I continue to press, that is when that shot will break, and that's when the gun will fire. We need to remember that because we're going to be talking a little bit more about trigger control and sight picture in the next part of this video. What you want to do as you are taking aim, you want to aim at your target, making sure that you have that front sight post even with that rear sight. Okay, you want to make sure you have that equal height, that equal light. You also want to make sure that you are focused not on that rear sight, not on your target, but on that front sight post. And I'm just going to demonstrate it here with the camera. Okay, your eye works the same as a camera lens. Not you know, you don't want that. You don't want that target focus. You don't want your focus to be on the back of that gun. You want that focus to be on that front sight post, just like that. Okay, as you take aim, okay, you're aiming on your target. When you begin to press that trigger, you go back to that wall that we had talked about before. I'm just going to back up just a little bit just to give you a little bit better demonstration. When you begin to press that shot, you get to that wall. You want to refocus your sights, okay? Refocus on that front sight post. Make sure that you are holding a proper sight post, sight picture alignment, okay? Make sure that that sight alignment is where it needs to be. After you have made sure that your sights are on target, that's when you're going to continue to build pressure on that trigger until the shot breaks. Now guys, we are loaded up. I am aiming through the camera to demonstrate this for you. Okay, I'm taking aim. I have that proper grip on my gun. I am touching the trigger now, and I am taking that back to I hit that wall, back to where it becomes stiff. Okay, once I get to that point, I want to refocus to make sure that my sights are aligned properly. Once they are properly aligned, that's when I continue to build pressure on that trigger until that shot breaks. You can see there, we press that shot and we hit our target. Just to show you guys again, we are getting on target. I'm putting my finger on the trigger. I'm taking it back to the wall. If at any point when you begin to build pressure on that trigger, if you start getting those sights misaligned, then you need to stop and you need to realign those sights, okay? Get them where they need to be. Again, holding that proper sight picture, taking that trigger to the wall. Once you get it back there to the wall, refocus your front sight. Make sure that that front sight post is what you are focusing on, guys. Get it lined up and then build pressure on that trigger. And that's how you're going to fire your shot. Guys, remember, these are the fundamental elements in firing an accurate shot, okay? Make sure that you have that proper stance. You want a good, stable platform for your gun, okay? If you are unstable, if you're leaning back when you're trying to aim that shot, you're not going to be stable, okay? Make sure that you have a good athletic stance, a fighting stance to make sure that the gun is not going to be moving around on you as much, and you're going to be able to manage that recoil. The key thing to remember is if you have the proper stance in a gunfight, you're not moving fast enough. Get out of that situation, okay? That is the main thing that you want to do, is to get out of whatever situation that you are in. But be sure to remember those elements, guys. Have that proper sight picture, have that strong grip. Make sure that you press that trigger without disturbing that sight picture. Guys, in the next video, we're going to be dealing with malfunctions. I'm going to be talking about how you can go in and deal when you have a malfunction with your firearm, whether it is a double feed, whether you just get a click and no bang. So stick around for that video. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Follow along as we go through this. Also, guys, I would appreciate it. As I mentioned earlier, check out all of the links down below. That way you can kind of help support what we do here. Thanks for watching. Check out the rest of the videos on my channel. Let me hear from you. Leave me a comment down below, and we'll see you next time.